da da da. Here's Matt. Da 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 da. There's Burt. Ba da ba ba ba. Hope something sticks. Blah blah blah.
Hello again. Welcome to Hope Something Sticks. I'm Burt.
I'm Matt, that guy who sings horribly.
And today we're going to be going over Game of Thrones Episode 3 titled Lord Snow.
Oh, yeah.
So,
Johnny Boy's new nickname.
Mm-hmm. And so we're going to go in a format that's kind of just, we'll do it by location. So we'll go through the King's Landing storyline first, then the Winterfell storyline, the Wall storyline, Castle Black, and then finally the Dothraki Sea storyline. So, heading it up, we got Ned coming into King's Landing. So the whole, what would you call it, the retinue makes it to King's Landing.
That would be a retinue.
Retinue, thank you.
Retinue would be those things in my eyes that are slowly getting worse.
It's retina.
Whatever.
The one kind of... So there's a couple weird things to start off here. First, you notice a lot of palm trees just around in King's Landing when Ned comes in. And you kind of... I mean, it's... The show's filmed in... whatchamacallit?
Ireland?
No, not there. In King's Landing, they film in Croatia. And so, it's just different from the UK. But I don't know, it just feels like out of place there, even if it's like thematically it works. And I think they go away from that a bit. Like later on, like in the seasons, you don't see palm trees in King's Landing. Like after this,
it definitely becomes more of a Dornish type of thing. Seeing as how that's much further south, and I think they were I think they probably steered too close to the this is Spain thing.
Yeah,
like Dorne is supposed to be Spain. King's Landing is supposed to be Marseille. And then the north is supposed to be the United Kingdom.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah,
tropical, not hot, but not tropical. It's supposed to be King's Landing.
Yeah. So,
like Georgia.
Mm-hmm. And you kind of open things up with like Ned just not having time for the King's Landing snootiness.
Yeah,
it's like they said, well, the small council's ready for you. It's like, all right, would you like to go into more appropriate clothing? They just he just stares at him.
Dead silence, and he's breathing through. He's clearly breathing through his mouth here.
Never mind. You look great. Real nice.
Yeah, they just look grubby.
And yeah, as they're kind of walking through, you see like just people checking them out. It's like, what the hell are these people with their penis helmets doing here?
You guys are wearing way too much leather for how hot it is out. This is ridiculous.
Yeah, they didn't bring a change of clothes apparently.
Nah,
so,
and then you see them in later scenes anyway, and they didn't change at all.
No, they just stick with that. I guess that's the only. They don't have any like summer clothes.
That stuff must stink like motherfucker. Oh my god. Yeah. Ripe.
Yeah.
King's Landing is ripe.
Ripe with the stench of Northmen.
And these guys are loaded. They have money.
Really.
They have the money to wash. They still don't. Like, nah, I'm good. All right then.
So as Ned's walking to the small council chamber, which is like, basically the cabinet that's the equivalent for the United States government. It's the Department of Education, Agriculture, Defense, whatever. That's basically what the small council is. They're just appointed by the king, and they kind of take care of whatever they're supposed to take care of. Anyway, along the way, he passes by the throne room where he sees Jaime Lannister.
That seems to be the main hallway. People are always going from one place to another through that room, off and to the left.
Yeah, it's kind of weird.
Great opening shot, though. I love it.
Yeah, and Jaime and Ned have this back and forth, basically kind of exposition about how Ned's dad and his brother died, and how Jaime eventually killed the king that he was sworn to protect as a king's guard. And so my wife, Sharon, she wanted everyone to know that she thinks that Ned is a tool and is being unnecessarily dickish to Jaime here. But I don't know. I mean, from Ned's perspective, Jaime killed the king. He killed the king while the city was under siege, and they were definitely going to lose at that point.
Right. Yeah.
And so he figured Jaime. They figured Jaime just saved his own skin, and that's why he did it. You later learn that's not why he did it. He actually saved the entire city by killing King Aerys.
Right.
But Ned doesn't know that because Jaime doesn't tell anyone about it.
Yeah, you gotta wait seasons upon seasons for that information.
Yeah, 2 more.
Oh, really?
So
I thought it was much later.
I think it's season 3. I think season 3 is when Brienne and Jaime are kind of going on their little journey from the Riverlands to King's Landing.
Yeah, right. I thought it was much later.
No, I think it's around the middle of season 3.
I'm remembering the hot tub scene between those two.
Yeah, that's what they were doing. They were traveling south to King's Landing.
Yeah, okay.
Anyway.
I thought that was later.
So back on topic. So yeah, you kind of see the animosity between Ned and Jaime. So then you got the small council meeting. And here's kind of where a lot is kind of being said, in the book in this first meeting. They don't really go into really anything besides the kind of the task at hand. But there's a lot of subtext in the meeting in the book about everything. So let's kind of go over what they do in the show, and then I'll kind of fill in what they didn't go through in the book. So in the small council, you have Grand Maester Pycelle, who represents the Citadel and the Maesters. You have Varys, who's the Master of Whispers, which is the Spy Master. You have Littlefinger, who is the Master of Coin, the Treasurer. You have Renly, who it's not specified what he does on the Little Council or the Small Council. He's actually the Master of Law in the book. So that's actually his job in the Small Council, is kind of I guess that would be the
Attorney General.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, so I guess he'd kind of be the Attorney General. And I think that's it. Yeah, and now Ned as the Hand of the King, who is basically Vice President. So really the only thing that they discuss is this tournament that King Robert once planned in honor of Ned taking out the position as King's Hand. And so they're kind of discussing how much it'll cost and, who they can borrow from. And Ned is first of all, not a big fan of this idea anyway. Like he says, we don't need to have a tournament. It's an extravagance. And like while they're talking, they talk about how the kingdom is 6 million gold dragons, which is like the currency there, in debt, in between the Iron Bank of Braavos and the Lannisters. And then it kind of just becomes, well, how did this happen? When Robert took over as king, there was a huge, surplus of cash. They weren't in debt, so what happened? The GDP went up, but the GDP went up, the taxes went up, but yet we're in debt by 6 million gold pieces. So what the fuck? So Littlefinger basically explains it away as the king just keeps spending money on extravagances.
Yeah, he gets to spend. It's good to be the king.
Mm-hmm. So Ned's kind of just flabbergasted about the whole situation. It's like, okay, I'm going to talk to Robert, then we'll, reconvene. And so now, in the book, there's a council member that is actually, so there's an extra person in the council in the book, and there's another person who's supposed to be in the council who's not there. So in the book, the commander of the King's Guard is always on the small council, which is Barristan Selmy. So he's there in the book, but he's not there in the show.
That's a loss.
Yeah. And another person who's conspicuously gone is Stannis, who's actually also on the small council, and he is the master of ships. So the Grand Admiral, yeah. So
wow.
And so Ned asked where he is, and they just said that he went back to Dragonstone. Now, you later learn why he went to Dragonstone is basically he ran off because he got wind that Joffrey and his brother and sister are not actually Robb's kids. They're actually born of incest from Cersei and Jaime. So this information was actually kind of known a bit beforehand. So so it's kind of revealed that Jon Arryn kind of let Stannis in on the information that he had that that Joffrey might not be Robert's kid.
It's not the worst production decision. I think they did okay with that. You don't even notice. You don't even know that Stannis exists, which I guess is kind of the only fault there. Until, you kind of hear bits and pieces about Stannis, but unless you're paying attention to these names and you watch the episodes about 8 times, you're not going to pick up that Stannis even exists as the... I don't even know where he is. I know he's the next in succession, so I guess it goes Robb, Stannis, and then Renly, right? In terms of age.
As far as the pure Baratheons go, yeah. The way
Stannis isn't older than Robert.
No, Stannis is the middle brother.
Okay. Because in the show, it seems like Stannis is actually the eldest.
It kind of seems like it is, but he's definitely in the book and in the show. He's definitely the most serious one out of all of them, and it kind of seems like he would be the oldest, but he's the middle child.
So they're jabbering at the small council here. Ned finds out everybody's crown doesn't have any money. In fact, it's going in quite the opposite direction. Sound familiar, modern times?
Mm-hmm.
Wonder where that was pulled.
Yeah.
Wonder where you got the inspiration for that.
I do wonder, because the book that it's based off of was made in the 90s.
Well, when did he finish that book? Late 90s? 99? 2000?
Came through, no, I think it was earlier mid-90s the first book came out.
Oh, shit. Okay. Well, that makes sense.
So we'd be in a pretty big surplus, yeah.
Well, no, the surplus didn't happen until, I don't know. I guess right around that time.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I think
Clinton's second term.
in the mid-90s. Yeah.
The last time we ever had a surplus. Those were the days, I guess.
Kind of. In that one specific kind of way, yeah.
Yeah, back when the worst thing the president could do was lie about getting a blowjob. Impeachable. Anyway,
so one more thing about the small council meeting. So in the book afterwards, Renly kind of comes up to Ned and like shows him this locket, one picture of himself and one picture of Marjorie, and he at this point Marjorie, it's kind of like set up that him and Marjorie are going to be a thing, and he asks Ned if it reminds him of Robert's and Ned's sister, Lyanna, who Robert's supposed to marry. And Ned was like, not really. She doesn't really look like her. And for some reason, Renly's kind of crestfallen about it. But then, he just kind of walks off.
what?
So
what is
here's the theory about that, is that Renly wasn't intending to marry Marjorie. He was actually intending for Marjorie to marry Robert and to set Cersei and her kids aside.
Oh.
Because, I don't know, this is kind of a while back since I read the first book, but I think both the Baratheon brothers were at least somewhat suspicious about, Joffrey's parentage. Or they just thought that the Lannisters were a bunch of scumbags and they kind of want to distance themselves from them.
Well, yeah, everybody's always suspicious. About,
So,
who's the real dad?
Yeah. So it's kind of the theory that he was trying to find someone that reminded Robert of Lyanna, that, he would actually set aside Cersei for. Because the other picture was of Renly, who looks a lot like a young Robert. So a little again, that's kind of just a little thing in the book that just kind of is there. I definitely get why they didn't put it in, since it didn't go anywhere anyway, like that.
Yeah, there's a lot of that.
Yeah.
A lot of loose ends.
So, yeah. So then we have a scene of Cersei and Joffrey basically talking about the state of things, and basically, if you're the ruler, the truth is whatever you say it is.
Yes, the painted whores scene. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so some really grade A parenting right there.
Oh yeah, absolutely. You can do whatever you want, kid. There's never going to be any consequences so long as we're in power.
Yeah.
Thanks, Mom. Good stuff.
Yeah.
Why don't you just give a sociopath just free reign? See what happens. Yikes.
That's kind of one of the reasons he became a sociopath, and also how...
Are you born a sociopath? At least aren't you born one? I don't think you become one.
I think you can become one in your formative years. I think if you grow up in an environment where it's not okay to have feelings, you basically shut yourself out from them.
Okay.
So, I don't know. I guess there's no way to really tell, because you can't really do, experiments that way of, intentionally fucking up kids to see if it's just nurture or if it's also nature.
Can't do it anymore.
No.
The 70s.
So
Cersei makes her little monster into a bigger monster.
Mm-hmm.
And then we get to go to Brothel Town.
Not yet. So, before we get to there, you have lunch with the Stark sisters.
Yay.
And, like, that Arya's just, like, stabbing the table with a knife. And Sansa asks, it's like, what the hell are you doing? Practicing for Joffrey. And she's like, Sansa, that's not, and Arya, that's not nice. It's like, who gives a shit? He's a lying piece of shit.
That's right.
And she runs off, and then Ned is talking with Arya about it and how why Sansa did what she did in terms of like not, telling the truth about the dire wolves and the fighting with Micah.
Yeah, these are some of the best scenes.
Yeah, it's really good stuff by both Sean Bean and Maisie Williams, and yeah, it's a pretty good scene where Ned says that Sansa has to take his side even though he's wrong and whatever, and then Arya kind of shoots back. It's like, how can you let someone marry Sansa who's such a total piece of shit? And like Ned has like no answer for it. So, moving it along.
Let's just gloss over that shit real quick.
Hey, is that a sword?
Yeah, I know, right? Tell you what, you can keep that. I know how to fix this situation. You can have a toy. A very dangerous toy.
I'll find someone to teach you to use that toy so you don't even have to worry about Sansa marrying some dirtbag.
Tell you what, if that dirtbag ever turns on you, stab him with your fucking sword. Alright, later.
Yep.
Nailing this dad thing. Nailing it.
Yep.
Crushing it.
Mm-hmm.
Alright, can we go to Whore's Landing now?
Yes. Okay, so yeah, the next scene is Kat is coming into the Capitol, and she's like, "Ooh, no one knows who I am," and then immediately she's like, "Lady Stark, can you come with us?" Damn it!
These Northerners think they're so slick with their veils, with their very shoddy veils and stank leather, and then everybody instantaneously knows who they are the second they come in the gate. It's like, yeah, we knew you were coming 10 miles away. We could smell you.
You're from the north.
Head this way to Whore Alley.
Yeah, so the guard takes her to Whore Alley where she sees Littlefinger, and she's all kind of pissy at him for a second for taking her into a whorehouse.
And you get the big reveal.
Yep. Varys just comes out. It's like, hello. It's like, oh, Jesus. Don't scare me like that. Sorry. I was just behind this veil waiting for my introduction. And then Kat pulls out the dagger that was used to try to kill Bran, by this would-be assassin.
Yep.
And so she asked Varys.
I lost that. I don't know where that was.
Yeah, so Varys says he doesn't know where it came from, and then Littlefinger says, "Oh, that was mine, and I lost it in a bet to Tyrion." So this plays out exactly the same way in the book, but you kind of find out in the book that it's definitely that there's a clue in what Littlefinger says that leads you to believe that he's lying, even before it's like explained that he's lying later on, because he says he lost in a bet with Tyrion, and Littlefinger says that he bet on Jaime to win in the tournament, and he bet his knife, so that would mean Tyrion bet against his brother and won. and it's
no. It was the Lord of it was Loras. Oh, you're talking about the book.
I'm talking about the book, and this is like a previous tournament. This is how Littlefinger is explaining how he lost it. He lost in the bet.
They changed the bet up in the show.
No, it's the same thing. So,
I thought it was Loras Tyrell against the Mountain.
No, that's the tournament that's gonna happen later on. They're talking about he in both of the book and the show. They talk about losing the dagger in a bet from a previous tournament.
Okay, it's not like they wouldn't have ever met in a different tournament. There's all sorts of tournaments, aren't there?
Sure. So
whatever.
Okay, this is what Littlefinger said. In a previous tournament, I lost the dagger in a bet to Tyrion.
Yeah.
Where the final match was Jaime Lannister in the Mountain. And Littlefinger said that he bet on Jaime, which would mean Tyrion bet on the Mountain and won. Right?
Okay.
Now, in the book, Tyrion is like kind of, at some point Tyrion's thinking about his brother, and it's mentioned, and he mentions that he always bets on Jaime. He never bets against him. So if you go back to what Littlefinger says, you see that he's lying about how he, about that story about losing the dagger.
I am completely misremembering that part of the episode. It's messed up. Well, in that case, I think we were talking about in one of the earlier episodes about who actually ordered the assassination of Bran with this dagger.
Yeah, I said it was most likely Joffrey.
So they only talk about. Well, I mean, they kind of talk about it right here, don't they?
Well, they talk about the assassination attempt, and Littlefinger says how, who had the dagger last, and he says it was Tyrion.
Right, so he's lying about that because
he's lying about that, and you find out in the book that he's lying about that because he said that Tyrion bet against Jaime, but Tyrion never bets against Jaime. When Tyrion is thinking to himself later on in the book.
Yet in the show, they're not saying that.
In the show, that's not mentioned. How Tyrion always bets on Jaime.
Okay, and therein lies the confusion as to who exactly ordered the fucking assassination of Bran.
Yeah, so not until. Yeah.
It's a good mystery then. Even the show doesn't know.
Yep. So,
but you get it. It's the guy who can't keep his accent straight.
Yeah, he was like, I don't know, I guess kind of like an Irish accent, which that's what he is.
He's all over the place.
Yeah. He sounded pretty Irish in that scene.
Yeah, me.
At least I think so.
Throw a dart. You'll probably hit where he's from. You could be across the street and you got a different accent, man.
Alright, so then what happens next is
titties.
Yeah. So titties. Littlefinger calls Ned to the whorehouse where Cat is. More titties.
That's so pissed.
And he gets super pissed at him.
Man.
He just fucking strangles the shit out of him,
so funny.
against his own whore.
And that would have done a lot if he had just finished the job right then and there. It's like, you know what? Let me just see what happens.
Yeah. Well, you wouldn't have the book or a series. It'd be a pretty short book.
Let's just close this.
And then everything was okay.
And everything was fine.
Yep.
Glad we avoided that sticky situation. Let's get ourselves into a different sticky situation. Hey, Cat.
So Cat kind of pops
that
out.
Doesn't happen. Ned doesn't go on to rule the Seven Kingdoms and happily ever after.
Yep.
But his kid does eventually take over. Brand.
Yep.
Like, let's just fast forward 7 seasons. 6.5 seasons.
So yeah. So Ned sees Cat, and they just kind of go over the Lannister plot that Cat's convinced of trying to take over the Seven Kingdoms. Then you have a nice little scene with Cersei and Jaime discussing the war for Cersei's cunt.
They could write a song about us.
Yes. Slap.
Oh God, Jaime. 0 fucks given this entire series. 0.
Yep. So then after that, Cat leaves back to Winterfell, back with Sir Roderick, and then you have this really cool show only scene. It doesn't pop up in the books or anything, but in the first season especially, there's like a lot of these good scenes that are just kind of good for like character building, and just kind of seeing the character relationships. And so you have King Robert just like sitting around, I don't know, I guess in his office or whatever, just getting pretty drunk. He's like pretty shitty at this point.
Oh yeah.
And he's just hanging out, and Barristan Selmy is there, just standing by him, just basically just looking at him. Mm-hmm. And Robert's like, who was the first guy you killed? And Barristan's like, I killed this dude in a war by shoving this lance through this guy's chest.
Mm-hmm.
And then Robert just kind of goes off about how he killed his first guy, this Tarly boy who he was fighting one-on-one with, and just like crushed his chest in.
Yep.
With his warhammer. And this time around watching, this must be like the 5th time I've seen this episode at least. And Robert's just going on about how he's fighting this guy, and Barristan's just like giving him like this kind of weird look. He's just like just staring straight at him, like as the scene's like panning, or like cutting between him and Robert. He's not saying anything. He's just giving this weird look, and I don't know, I just kind of wonder what the stage direction for the guy who plays Barristan is for this, because I can only imagine what's going in through his head, because like Barristan was on the other side of this war, so he's talking about basically a brother in arm getting crushed in by the guy who he's talking with. And not only that, this is like big world building stuff that doesn't show up in the show. Barristan Selmy is originally from the Reach, like the Tarleys. So he's also talking about a countryman. He's probably talking about someone who he's basically the guy that Robert killed is probably the son of somebody he knows fairly well. And he's just like talking about, just joking about how he shits himself after he killed him. It's like, all right,
it's good to be the king. You can say whatever.
Yeah. And then he calls Jaime in, and then he asks Jaime, who's the first guy you killed, and it's this guy from this big bandit gang that was kind of terrorizing the kingdom for a while. And then he asks what the Mad King said, any last words he had when Jaime killed, the Mad King.
Mm-hmm.
And Jaime just basically said, he was just saying the same thing he's been saying for hours: burn them all. And it's kind of like freaks Robert out a bit. Like he just like has like this big stare on his face. Probably wondering, what the fuck does that mean? And and basically Robert just goes off about how smug the Lannisters are. and how they always have this like, what was it, like this satisfied look on their face all the time, which Jaime does like perfectly, like all the time, like in the first like 2.5 seasons. He's like, he always got this look. It's like you know, he the son of the richest man in the 7 kingdoms. He's like, man, I got this life thing figured out. Got gold set of armor, banging my sister. One of the best knights in the kingdom. Nobody can touch me. Rich as fuck, man.
Babes, bucks. He's got it
Bucks, all. I got it all. About to go parasailing with movie stars. Ugh.
Blackjack, hookers on the new casino on the moon. He's got it all, man.
Yep.
Nothing to it.
So, yeah.
That's his whole thing. That's his whole thematic. That's his whole arc. I'm here to drink beer and bang my sister.
Yeah, that's kind of unfortunate.
That doesn't look like a stopping those two things. I'm all out of beer, and I'm all out of beer.
So if you take that away, that one last thing.
Oh no, yeah, it's you're if you're a little kid trying to get in the way of that, you're getting pushed out of a window, man. If you're a king trying to burn down a city, you're getting stabbed in the ass.
And so the last scene at King's Landing is Arya kind of, I guess, stumbling onto her new water dancing instructor, which is basically fencing. So that kind of starts up. She starts learning how to sword fight, and Ned's just kind of looking at her practice, and then he has like some kind of PTSD episode where he hears like this battle going on in his head.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I loved it. I love the overlap. That was fantastic.
Yeah. So that's the King's Landing story. Some good stuff in there. A lot of character building. And
yeah, that's what made the first season so fantastic.
Yeah.
There were
not a huge amount of. Yeah. Yeah. Not a huge amount of plot going on it, but I guess they're still like introducing all these new characters.
It's a lot to take in.
Yeah. Yeah, it's true.
That's why most people were. It's amazing this show actually took off as well as it did, because there's still. I mean, I tried getting Kurt in on the episode here. Kurt is our technical attaché, of whom we take zero advice, clearly. And yeah, he is thoroughly unconvinced that this is a good show.
I mean, do you see just the amount of tits that are in it? Because that's pretty much how they sold the show.
Hey, I don't know what to tell you. Kurt's not a tit guy.
Hmm.
I guess. I don't know who that is, but... Weirdo. I don't know. Some people are ass men.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. We could talk about, we could have a whole show about Kurt's kinks later.
Alright. So moving on to the Winterfell story, which is really the shortest one by far. I think there's only like, you know what? There's only like one scene of it. Yeah. There's only one scene where you have Bran and Nan is kind of his caretaker. It's just talking about whatever, like the stories that he likes. And Bran likes the scary stories. But Nance just starts freaking him out with the stories about like the Long Night and the White Walkers, and you know, just a lot of foreshadowing.
She segues so perfectly too. It's fantastic.
Yeah. It's like, what do you know? All you know is the summer. The time for fear is the winter. Where babies are born and die in dark.
Mothers mother their babies.
Yeah. Their tears
and
freeze on their face. Yes. Spiders! That's when Rob comes in. It's like, what the fuck are you doing?
Telling him what he wanted to hear.
It's like, all right, get out.
And then we get an interesting little tidbit of the origin of the world from Via Nan, who is like, in real life, she's like 84 years old and died like, she was dead like 2 months after this was shot.
Wow.
Yeah, I didn't even know that. But in the show, isn't she supposed to be like, she's insanely old. She's like 150 years old. Because she spans so many different kings. And
yeah, she's considered one of the oldest people, like, in the story.
Right, and then Rob drops this little dime.
Yeah.
Something about how, she once told me that we're all, the sky is blue because we live in the eye of a giant named, I gotta look up the name.
I think it's Matumbo.
No, you're thinking of Dikembe. It's not Dikembe Mutombo. It's close. Hang on, I'm looking it up now. Macumba. There we go. Close.
It's pretty close, yeah.
Tumbo.
Brian's like, maybe we do. I was like, whatever.
Yeah, why wouldn't a 12-year-old think that?
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. Sounds plausible to me.
Why not?
I can't fucking walk, dude. And then
so yeah, then their conversation gets a lot more morbid, where Bran basically says that he'd rather be dead than be crippled. And that's pretty much it for Winterfell this episode.
Yeah, very important scene.
Yeah.
I think this was more about just a White Walker drop. We had to get at least one mention of the White Walkers in the episode, in any episode. Has to happen. You know, to lead up to the grand finale of, ooh, we actually get to see one.
Yep. Alright. So,
turns out the ending was zombies. Of course. Zombies were pretty big back then. That was a pretty hot subject matter.
Mm-hmm.
Alright, so we leave Winterfell.
And then we go to the namesake of the episode at the wall, where Lord Snow, otherwise known as Jon, is in the practice yard, kind of sparring with his fellow initiates, and here you meet this basically their trainer by the name of Aleister Thorne, who's a real asshole. But you don't get a huge sense of that right now. Like, all you get is that he's kind of a hard ass.
Yeah, you don't really understand why.
Here's why. Again, so the show takes a whole bunch of character interactions from the book, but they don't explain them with anything. Like, so who's like, give me. So you've seen the entire series. Give me Aleister Thorne's backstory.
He fought on the side of the Targaryens. They lost, and now he's at the wall. Because it was either die in the war, or be executed as a prisoner of war or something, or go to the wall because you lost. Now go there and live as a giant loser.
I think I told you that. I don't think that was in the show.
Oh, yeah, you probably told me that.
Yeah, so
it's all mixing together now.
Yeah, so yeah,
he's solely on the show so far. You have no fucking clue who the guy is.
Yeah, or at all. You don't get any backstory on him. But yeah, that's true in the book. He was on the losing side of Robert's Rebellion, and now he has to deal with Ned Stark's bastard son, who was one of the architects of the rebellion that caused him to be on this fucking frigid ass wall.
That's true. If you don't know that while you're watching this, he just seems like a complete asshole.
And he is,
for
but
no fucking reason. There's no reason at all other than I don't like you.
Yeah, there's no reason to single Jon out except for, Jon is the son of the man who totally fucked up his shit. He lost all his land, his inheritance, his legacy, and now he's just sitting his ass on a giant block of fucking ice because of this dickhead's dad.
Yeah, it just plays like it plays like an 80s movie. It's like, why are you pissed? What is your problem? The bad guy.
He just is.
Just pick any bad guy from any 80s movie. It's like, what the fuck is your deal?
Also, in the book, he's actually not so much of a bad guy. Like, he like fucking hates the shit out of Jon, but he actually wasn't part of the treason later on in the series.
Wow. That's a huge departure.
Yeah, he wasn't even like
he's
there
like a ringleader of it
when it happened. Yeah, he was like the guy.
They completely changed his character then. Bummer.
I mean, like that's pretty much like everything else is basically the same, but yeah, like
here I am feeling remiss for some fake character.
Yeah, not really, but he, even though he's kind of an asshole in the book as well, he's always followed orders. He's never done anything treasonous or anything. So, yeah, he's not as bad of a character in the book. So yeah, and Jon kind of just kicks the shit out of everybody because no one else knows how to fight. And
well, Tyrion sets him straight on that one. He finally realizes.
Yeah, that's the next scene. So the next scene is Jon in like the armory with all the other recruits, and they're like, "What the fuck, man? You busted up my goddamn nose for no goddamn reason." And Jon is just like a total dick to him. It's like, it looks better that way. And then they go straight to trying to murder him.
Right, yeah. It's like, well, you know what? Got nothing else to do. Might as well murder your ass.
So, and then Tyrion comes and basically saves Jon because pulling the "My Sister's the Queen" card.
Ah, yes. Pretty powerful card.
Yep. So they let Jon go, and then while they're in the room, which is slightly weird, Tyrion just kind of goes over all their backstories and how two of them, anyway, are actually, solid guys. Like, one of them is there because he stole a block of cheese for his starving sister. Another one was abandoned by his dad, like when he was 3 years old or something. The last dude is some asshole, so he doesn't go into his.
Yeah, he earned it.
Yeah, no, yeah. That guy was a piece of shit. But, yeah. And so then Jon's like, oh, I guess I'm the asshole here. He's like, yes, you are, Jon. Being a total fucking asshole.
All right, bye.
Yep.
I gotta go party with your compatriot over there, Mr. Bear's Balls.
Yep. Well, then Jon's like, all right, guys, well, I'm going to go say hi to my uncle, who's the first ranger.
Yeah, right. Is this the last we see of... This is probably the last we see of Benjen for a while, I think.
Yeah. So Benjen tells Jon, like, on the wall. So this is the first time Jon sees what's on the other side of the wall, and it's a lot of snow.
Snow, forest,
and
cave people.
Yeah, and yep.
Just kidding. You don't see cave people. Everybody hates them.
Yeah, the caves are much further out north. So yeah, so basically Benjen and Jon have a conversation. Benjen says he's leaving the wall to go ranging, and Jon does his pouty bitch speech one more time. It's like, I'm better than all of them. You're better than no one, George. God damn it.
Yeah, he's a little kid. You gotta set him straight.
Yeah. But that was the last time he needed to, because then he gets set straight forever for the rest of the series. As then kind of get into the kind of last part of this story segment. But the next scene is Tyrion just hanging out with Yoren, who's like the recruiter for the Night's Watch, and you see why he's the recruiter. Like, he's the most chill guy in the Night's Watch.
Well, recruiter. He's like the collector.
I mean, he's both. Like, most of what he does is collecting, but he's also got to kind of charm the people. I don't know. I don't know how hard he has to try to get prisoners. It's like, oh, you want to pay for their food? Okay. I guess it's not that hard, but
no, it isn't, because it's like here, hang on. He goes through it a little bit. It's just like basically everybody is self-selected. You've got poor people just looking for food. You got highborn people looking for glory, and then the rest are criminals. So,
which seem like they're becoming the majority, which is like just criminals.
Right. And none of them are particularly funny. No.
But that might be because of the locale. It's not really kind of a grim place. But I don't know.
That just is a little aside there about their... that's what Tyrion says about most of them.
Yeah, that only Yoren is funny. And that's when Benjen comes in and
right.
kind of just pisses all over the party. It's like, oh, that what we are to you, dwarf? A whole army of jesters. And then Tyrion's like, well, you're not big enough to be an army, and you're not really that funny, except for Yoren over here.
Yeah, right.
And so they start talking about the Night's Watch. Tyrion thinks, basically the Night's Watch is a big waste of time to volunteer for it anyway, because the wildlings over there, who gives a shit, besides like the lords, like in the most northern part of the kingdom.
Yeah, it's one of the best lines leading up to that. Yeah. Anything a man says before the word "but" doesn't really count.
It's like, but nothing you do matters, and
the only difference between us and them is that we were on the right side of it when the wall went up.
Benjen's like, yep.
Yeah, that's about right.
Sucks to be them. And then he gives like this kind of cryptic lines, like, "You never been north of the wall, so don't tell me what's out there." Even though he hasn't seen anything besides wildlings out there up until this point, but it's kind of hinted that he's heard about the White Walkers from all the wildlings that have been coming south in kind of greater numbers than usual. And that's about it for that scene. And then you just kind of have another scene with Jon, who's helping out the other initiates, kind of teaching them how to fight, which I don't know why Aleister Thorne wasn't doing that. It's like, all right, hit each other with sticks for half an hour and then fuck off. You're all worthless.
Oh yeah.
Thanks for the constructive criticism there, Teach.
Yeah, when it gets cold. Is this what you want at your back?
And so that's the Castle Black story. And then the last part is in the Dothraki Sea with Dany and all of them. So you kind of find them just kind of riding through the Dothraki Sea, where the grass is really, really long where they are right now.
Yes, the grass that will eat the world.
I don't know if that's the ghost grass, but it's very tall.
I assumed it was.
Maybe it is. And then they her and Jorah are sort of talking about how basically the Dothraki do business, and how they deal in slaves, and how they definitely don't buy slaves. They just kind of take them themselves, or they get slaves for not burning down people's cities. But then sometimes Dothraki's like, you know what? I'm going to do it anyway. Fuck it.
Oh yeah, if the slaves aren't right quality, or if training. It's for training purposes.
Yep. Or they're bored.
Yeah, boredom. Yeah, that'll cause it too.
You're boring, so we'll kill you all because you're boring.
Yes, the best line in all of Skyrim. Oh god, what a waste of fucking time. My left eye started twitching because you brought it up. You're giving me PTSD like Ed. Sometimes I'll just be in a conversation, and some Skyrim shit will come into my head. That's how much Skyrim I play. It's really fucked up. It's like, oh wait, this reminds me of. Oh wait, that wasn't a real thing, and you're the only one who experienced that, Matt. Like, oh great, now I'm turning into one of those assholes. Can't fucking tell the difference between reality and Skyrim.
Just running around hunting boars.
Yeah. It's like, oh, this reminds me of that time when I was a werewolf. Oh, yeah, that's right. Anyway, we're back. Yeah, we're still in the Sea of Grass. And, so she stopped. This is a weird scene. This always confused me of why Viserys got so pissed off. So he got pissed off because she told the Horde to stop moving.
And he was part of the Horde, so she technically commanded him.
Yeah, that's where it took me a long time to make that connection, even though it was right after the other.
Yeah, there were two things that were kind of weird. That was the one thing, and why she stopped the entire Khalasar.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I guess she wanted to stop to wrap her head around the whole slavery thing. I don't know.
Yeah, really. I don't know. She just wanted to walk into that clearing. There was no particular reason for stopping, other than I feel like stopping.
Yep.
Yeah. So then he freaks out, points a sword at her, and then I don't know, Drago, somebody else, not Drogo. One of the other.
What's his face?
One of the Blood Riders. Yeah, the Blood Rider whose face you always see. We should probably learn his name.
Yeah.
They show him often enough.
Yeah, whatever. That guy. So
he shows up. He puts Viserys in his place.
Yeah, somehow wraps a whip around his neck.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
But this is it's a pivotal scene. This is the scene where you get to finally see that nobody has really paid any attention to Viserys at all, other than Dany.
Mm-hmm.
But in this scene, it finally gets hammered home. Nobody gives a shit about what Viserys says.
Yeah, and that really gets hit home by basically Viserys telling Jorah to kill what's his face, and Jorah's just like doesn't even like acknowledge that he said anything. He just like yeah, so basically just asked Dany if she wants to go back to the Khalasar, and then they just leave. So you kind of just see Jorah just pick sides. Basically, he's like, "Yep, I'm on Team Dany."
Yep, I'm on Team actually married to the mass murderer here.
Yep. I guess then Viserys is like, "Oh, I have no power at all."
Fantastic. And then he gets his horse taken away.
Yeah, then they take his horse away.
And has to walk for an unknown amount of miles. Question mark.
And then he's like totally shocked about that. It's like, oh! It's like his mouth.
He's quite shocked about a lot of things.
Yeah.
Right up until the end.
Also shocking.
Yes, quite shocking. Crown for a king.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
I think that's probably like next episode, but
I think it's actually like 3 episodes away.
Really?
I think so. It takes a while for them to get pissed off enough at him. Because they, what's happening? They only just reveal in this episode that she's pregnant. Because one of her handmaids just, feels her up. It's like, whoa, hey, look at these jugs. Getting bigger. You know what that means?
Baby
Damn.
time.
Yeah. There's something in you.
Yeah. So that's basically, these are the last couple of scenes. Dany's learning Dothraki from her handmaiden, and then her handmaiden is just like, it's like, let me give these a squeeze. Yep, you're pregnant.
Hello.
Dany's like, like when she like starts feeling her up, it's like, hey, can I help you with something?
Yeah, it's like, hello, I'm here, eyes up here.
It's like, you have a baby inside you. It's like, what?
It's like, what? You can't figure that out that quick.
So, and then the last scene is basically Jorah with what's his face, the Whipping Wonder. They're kind of going over battle tactics on, the advantages of having armor and a broadsword. And the Dothraki guy doesn't quite get it. He's like, well, speed beats size most of the time. And he doesn't really get it. It's like, yeah, but if the big guy also has a whole shit ton of armor that you can't pierce through, except at like very few spots, like at his neck or whatever, you're kind of fucked.
Yep.
So so they're talking about that, and then they're talking about their fathers, and Jorah kind of goes on that his dad, still a warrior, and that he betrayed his trust. And before he kind of goes further into that, Dany's handmaiden comes in, asks her something new for Dany to eat, and tells him that Dany's pregnant. And you got a pretty interesting reaction from Jorah. It's like, oh.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
A lot going through his head. And then he just said, it's like, well, I'm going to Core Hall. Later, guys.
I gotta go for no reason other than you just told me to go kill a fucking dog and feed it to the queen.
They changed it to goat.
They did eventually, yes.
Yeah. So yeah, it was weird that didn't raise any suspicions. It's like, well, for some completely unrelated reason, I'm going to some city out wherever.
Yep.
Like, oh, all right. Let's pick me up some eggs.
Then you get a very fantastically cozy, sexy scene with Daenerys and Drogo. Very classic.
Yeah.
Very well framed. Lots of side booking.
Very. Oh yeah. And then Dany says that she thinks it's a boy.
Oh yeah, of course.
And, and Drogo says, "How do you know?" I just know. Oh, okay.
Because that's the thing that'll make you happy right now.
Yeah.
Ah, you're so fucking sweet. Turn around.
No, I told you we stopped doing that.
Yeah, those are the cutscenes. What do you mean we stopped? I thought it was just that one time.
Nope.
I thought that being married would be such a pain in the ass. Oh, we forgot to talk about Tyrion pissing off the edge of the wall.
Yeah, but
that's it.
That's pretty much the whole thing of that interaction with him and Jon. It's like, well, it pissed off the wall. Now let me shake your hand, Jon, and I'll see you.
Yeah, right. So just wipe this off real quick. Dirty.
And that's it. Yeah.
Yeah, no doubt.
That's episode 3.
Yeah, right. Pissed off the edge of the wall. If you're going to take a piss off the edge of the wall, make sure you got somebody else's hand to shake immediately afterwards.
Yep.
That's the main takeaway from this episode. A lot of character building. I think we all learned a lot.
Oh yeah. A lot about ourselves, a lot about each other.
That's really the most important part. Yeah. So stop listening to this podcast and go, make some bastards.
Or legitimate children, if you have the means.
Nothing gets people in the mood like listening to podcasts. It's like, hey, you want to listen to Hope Something Sticks and
Hope something sticks.
Hope something. Hey, where are you going? Hey, where?
Get it?
You live here. Where are you going?
Nudge, nudge, poke, poke.
Hey, get it? Yeah, for real. Yeah, I'm starting to get the memo. Stop insulting the listeners. Fine.
Nah, you can keep doing it if you want.
If you want, yeah. That's classic qualification. Yeah, you can do it. You can do whatever you want if you want. Okay.
All right. I think that's just about it.
Episode. Yes, I think it was good.
Yep.
Kurt has been very kind and patient. He's just been sitting in my kitchen for the last hour and a half.
He's still out there?
Yes. Yeah, my fucking lunch is getting cold. No, I'm just kidding. Right. I ate before I did this.
I'd hope so. Alright, so you guys can email us in at hopesomething.sticks@gmail.com. Any feedback, any questions? How do you like the new theme song we've been going with for the past few episodes?
Any feedback at all is totally fine.
Yep.
Hey, Matt, why are you calling me a meat bag? I'm clearly more than just a bag of meat. I disagree. That's fine.
It's blood, too.
Yeah, sure. There's all sorts of fun stuff in there. Neurons firing. We're all just animals floating on a rock in space.
In a giant's eye.
In Macumba's eye, yes. What happens if he cleans his eye? Let's not hypothesize on that. End of the world. We get flicked out of the eye.
Alright, well, we'll catch you next time.
Peace out.